Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new flip-through video. Today I am showing day 3 of my trip to San Francisco. And as you can see, this album has gotten quite chunky. I tried to keep it flat where I could, but that doesn't always work. If I see a really fun embellishment or something I really want to use, it's going to go in the album. Our first stop of the day was the Legion of Honor, which is a major art museum. So it's kind of a weird name, but it is an art museum. And on this one, I tried to incorporate some memorabilia that I picked up. So this side, I have a fun card. I picked it mainly because of the colors and then the fact that it had palm trees there because we were in a tropical climate. So you can kind of see that demonstrated throughout here. And then I got this bookmark when I was there, and it fit perfectly into this 2-inch slot here in the page protector. And then I happen to have, I can't remember, it might be called something like Renaissance something, can't remember, but I bought a digital pack of element files, and this was one of the things in there, and it's very sort of history museum, art museum oriented. So I was able to print that out, fussy cut it, and slap it on there. And I think because of the style and the color, it worked well with these items. And I have a love-hate relationship kind of with 4x4 photos and pockets. I like the way they look like when they're done, but designing them is just a little bit difficult. I have the same thing with 2x2, but just more so. 4x4 isn't as bad. And I really tend to like this white border if it suits the layout. Here, I felt like it did. Just because I had white over here, I have this. I just felt like that was a good fit for this theme. On the back side, I also chose to do the white border because I wanted to design something for the back of the bookmark. I figure if I'm going to put it in the album and it's taking up space, if I don't like what's on the back or I don't need the info that's there, I'm going to cover that up and use it for some kind of thing that enhances the layout. So I was able to do that here. I kept this at the top because obviously that's fine. That's the name. But the rest of it was their hours and their website. I don't need that stuff. So I covered it up, did a little ink splattering, did some washi. And then this is actually the sticker that you get when you pay. So when you go in, then they know you're legit to walk around and whatever. So I just stuck that to something else and saved it when I was done with it. And now I'm able to use it in the album. And then over here, I made this card in Project Life. I decided I needed some more things that had art sayings on them. So I just found some quotes online, made my own cards, and here I got to use one by Renoir. I always love visiting the Impressionist galleries if a museum has them. So of course, I got to see some Monets here. And again, I made this card. It was in my stash and decided to use it here. Now, it did say Monet under here as well, but it just looked boring. The card needed something else, and I happened to have this label that was sort of a very soft periwinkle. It worked well with what was in these paintings, so I chose to just kind of cover up what I had, write Monet again, and call it good. And then over here, I wanted to keep the brochure. I love that it's got a full map on the inside, and it's a fold out, which is nice. You don't see that all the time. And then on the back, again, I didn't need what was there. So I chose to use a postcard that I picked up in the gift shop there and just make a new layout for the back. And the fact that it's an Impressionist painting doesn't hurt. Still in the Impressionist area here, I wanted to just showcase these photos that I had. They were all sort of outdoorsy, naturey things. Colors all matched, which is awesome. And once again, another card that I made. So I used quite a few here. This is another Renoir. My only beef about this one is I feel like I should have moved down the text. I didn't plan to put this on, obviously, when I made the card. But had I put it down a little bit more, it would have evened out the card. But frankly, I just wanted this album done. So I wasn't going to reprint and mess with it. I just used it as is. Still in the museum here, I just got a quick selfie in one of the period rooms because I loved how it was designed, loved the beautiful chandelier. And then I also needed coffee badly when we were there. Since this was the first stop of the day, I hadn't had coffee yet. So my friend humored me, luckily, and we went into the cafe. But then we found out all over the inside of their cafe, they have these like steampunk sculpture art piece things. And I took way more photos of them, but I really had to talk myself off the ledge and be like, you know what, you can't use all of those. This represents the idea just fine, so I went with this. When we were done at the Legion of Honor, we went outside and we actually decided to use a lift because it was quite a distance from here down to where we needed to be down by the water. And we could have taken a bus, but it would have taken us kind of out of the way and it would have taken far, far longer. So we're like, while we're waiting for our lift, we're just gonna stand up here and look at what's outside. And they had some sculptures out there, beautiful views of the Golden Gate Bridge. Obviously, we got to see a container ship going by. I happen to have this card that was like all the same colors as what's represented in the photo, so why would I not use it? And I just stuck on a puffy geotag there, and that was enough. Once we were down by the water, we had beautiful views of the Golden Gate, and I know a lot of people go to San Francisco and it's foggy, and so they can't even see the bridge. That's what happened to my husband when he was there. We had the most beautiful day ever. Perfect shots. I mean, look at that. And then here's one of my non-flat embellishments. So I have to be careful, but I had this. How was I not going to use it? I don't know that I'll take another extended vacation to San Francisco. So if I don't use it now, it's not going to get used. So I did include that. Plus, I feel like it gave it a nice pop of color because here you can see the bridge, but it's not in this photo at all. I was looking out on the water the other direction. So I think that worked out nicely there. And then here, I have to scooch over a little bit. Oops. But flip out on this one. And I tried to keep the embellishments very, very minimal because I love the photos. And again, I've already used a 3D piece over here. I don't need to do that again. And I just used some easy phrase strips too besides my journaling. So kept it pretty simple. And then here's where we had already walked down there. Now we're walking back the other direction to go to our next stop. But they had this little park out there with these lovely Adirondack chairs and people were out enjoying the day. And as you can see, it was quite windy. So beautiful weather, but windy. And so we wanted to get a quick selfie with the bridge in the background. And just a little tidbit, this photo is actually adhered to the outside of the page protector because this was a flip out and the entry point here is in the middle. It makes it very hard to get a 4x6 photo in there. So I didn't even mess with it. I just put it on the outside. As we were walking to our next stop, we had to go through the whole length of the park almost. So we were in the Presidio area, so I had a card from that. We walked on Crissy Field, right along the water there. We have that, so I put those in there. And then a stop on our way to the Palace of Fine Arts was the Yoda statue. So Lucas had offices here, I guess. And so there's a Yoda statue. And I'm like, oh, it's pretty much on our way. We only have to deviate like 2 blocks or something to get to it. So let's go. And we did. So my friend humored me again and let me get my photo in front of the Yoda statue and fountain. And we actually stopped at a Starbucks. Our feet were killing us and it was hot. We needed drinks. So we stopped to do that. But when we left, the path between there and the Palace of the Fine Arts took us through this beautiful park area. And I looked it up online to try to find a name for it. If there is one, it doesn't show up on Apple Maps. So I don't even know what the name of it is. But it was glorious. We just really took a leisurely stroll through it because we didn't have to be at the Palace of Fine Arts at a particular time. And it was just too lovely to speed through it. And I wanted to make sure that I added some nice flower things to it. So I have these little puffy stickers from Ellie's Studio. I put an enamel dot on there just to bring in more of that yellow. And I'm really pleased with how that came out. On this side, I used a somewhat unique page protector style where I have this 2x4 pocket here. And it worked perfectly for the sign of the Palace of Fine Arts. So I thought, well, why not use it there? And here we are inside that area. It was stunning. If you are going to San Francisco and you aren't sure about this, go. Even if you only spend 20 minutes, half hour, you could just walk through it, appreciate it, and then go on to something else. But it's really lovely. I mean, the architecture is amazing. I really enjoyed it. And you're, smack in the middle of the city, but you don't feel like you are when you're in there. And here I just kept the embellishments simple as well. I had some things in my stash I've had for a long time. Happy to get rid of those, like this acetate embellishment here. And then here I just layered a bunch of stuff I had. And this wood veneer is a little bit thicker than what I would normally use. But again, it's clearly San Francisco. So if I don't use it here, where am I going to use it? And still within the Palace of the Fine Arts, I just found this stunning. So I thought that has to be a 6x8. So all I did here was just stamp on this, do a little puffy sticker, and that's enough, because this is the show right here. And over here, I kind of did a similar thing to some previous pages. I wanted to keep it flat if I could, bring in some nice colors so the green works nicely, but I didn't want to do anything else to detract from the beauty of the photos. When we were done at the Palace of Fine Arts, we wanted to go to Grace Cathedral before it closed for the evening, and we got there pretty close to when it was going to close. So luckily we made it. We didn't really have to rush. I mean, we had time to walk around and see a bunch of stuff, which is great. And here I've just done solid cardstock, and then I had a little chunk of acetate or transparency, and it happened to have this very subtle gold stripe. And I thought, well, you know what? I can't do anything crazy because this is so busy. A nice simple stripe might work. And I love that I had this as a digital file I had already cut. It worked perfectly with these photos. And then here, this was just a little service kind of mini brochure or handout that they had within the church. So I took that because I loved the front of it. And again, I didn't need what was on the back. So I chose to cut down a photo there and make that work on the back of this as an extra layout. And then I did a couple of enlargements here because it's very tall and narrow. Once you're inside, that works extremely well for a 4x8 page protector. So I printed a couple of these, kept the embellishments minimal. Again, here, all I did was a phrase strip, but look at that. That's all it needs. It didn't need anything else. And over here, these pictures are so gorgeous. I did choose to add this little stained glass digital piece I had, but I think it's fine. I don't think it overwhelms it. And really, other than the date, what does it need? I think that was plenty. There was also a side chapel that is interfaith as part of this cathedral, and I didn't know before I went in, they have a Keith Haring piece. So that was a very nice surprise because I've recently gone to a Keith Haring exhibit in Minneapolis where I live, and so I was like, I know exactly who made that just by looking at it. I didn't even need to read the plaque, but yes, it was done by him. And I brought in some of the colors here that I liked, and I have a hard time using numbered cards like this, but this was a perfect way for me to use that one. And I had a bunch more pictures too, but again, I tried to pare down, not go crazy. But when we were done there, we were just walking back to our hotel essentially, or our hostel, sorry. And we just passed some beautiful things. We passed through Huntington Park, which I didn't realize it was there. It just happens to be like right next to the cathedral. But there were these beautiful buildings around the park, and I wanted to make sure that I showcased those as well. Our last stop of the day was our evening meal. We had a lovely dinner, and my friend had actually spotted this place near our hostel previously in our trip. And so we're like, oh, when we have a night we want dinner, we'll go there. So we chose to go this night, and the food was excellent. It's quite a small place inside. So I think we just got lucky, probably, that we went at a time where it wasn't super busy. Not a lot of tables in there, but totally worth it. And you can kind of see here, the decor was fun. Our food was excellent. I designed this using the business card I picked up and some cutout pasta pieces that I had from a digital set. So I got lucky that I remembered I had those. It helped me with these cards because I did one here as well. And I kept my embellishments, again, very simple and flat. This is a puffy sticker, but it's quite thin. So I think that works well. And this is the end of day 3. So the next time you'll see a flip through will be day 4 of San Francisco. Thanks for watching.